The 2024 Indian Premier League, which bowls off on Friday, will feature 11 West Indian players across 6 franchises. Defending champions Chennai Super Kings will take on Alzarri Joseph's Royal Challengers Bengaluru in the tournament opener. But your home of champions SportsMax and SportsMax Cricket on the app will have you covered with live coverage starting at 9:30 a.m. 10:30 ECT. Here's a look at the Caribbean players and their teams. All right, so we have the West Indies players and their teams. Shea Hope will be suiting up for the Delhi Capitals. Sunil Narain will be suiting up for the Kolkata Knight Riders. Shafin Rutherford, Kolkata Knight Riders. Andrew Russell, KKR as well. So for Lucknow Super Giants, we have Nicholas Puran, Shamar Joseph and Kyle Mayers. Mumbai Indians will be Romario Shepherd. Rajasthan Royals, they have Shimron Hetmyer and Rovman Powell. And Royal Challengers Bengaluru, Alzarri Joseph. All right, so Nikhil Uttam Chandani joins us via Zoom to discuss the tournament and the chances of a West Indian lifting the trophy. Nikhil, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Maria. I'm really excited for the start of what will be an exciting IPL season. 11 West Indians involved, and I think it's important for our World Cup chances that these guys do well in India for these next 2 months.
Yeah, of course. And the thing is, Nikhil, you know, what we've always said on this show is franchise tournaments like the CPL, the IPL and all of that really only does good to our players. We see so many benefits coming out of that. So I bring it back to the question, do you think, based on the players that have been selected for the IPL and their teams, of course, it's not just the players, one player or two player, the entire team, can a West Indian bring that trophy home?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I'll start by saying yes because they're so spread out in the various franchises. Probably a concern is that there's no West Indian in Chennai, but when I look at that MI side, who add Hardik Pandya as captain, who add Jasprit Bumrah, who missed it last year from injury, and you pair them with that very strong Indian batting core, and also the experience that they have of winning championships, it's good that Romario Shepherd is there. And I think he could actually start in their first game on the weekend just because of that all-round ability and what he offers. I think it's a bit of a unique point that I could definitely see him featuring in that 4 overseas slot. So I would really hope that West Indian could win. But I think, as you mentioned, regardless of if they win or not, guys like Shamar Joseph, Kyle Mayers, who may not start the tournament or may not even feature much in the playing 11s, I think they can really develop and learn a lot just from being around these types of players, but also these types of coaches.
Yeah, and personally, you know, I am looking forward to see Shimron Hetmyer. We have not seen him play cricket for quite some time. He's a very exciting player, I must say. What can we expect from Shimron Hetmyer? Do you have any news? Because I know you follow everything. How has he been looking in training? Anything, Nikhil? Are you in India?
No, I'm not in India, Maria, I wish, but hopefully one day. But just speaking to Hetty and sort of watching his progress before the tournament, I know after the ILT20, he stayed back in Dubai to do some work at the Royals Academy. So I know he's been really preparing well. This is someone that the Rajasthan franchise has believed in for many years. He's played a different role than he plays for the West Indies, where he's always finishing the innings, which is why it was really interesting to me to see Rovman Powell being selected by Rajasthan, who also captains the Barbados Royals in the CPL. But they went so aggressively at getting a finisher. It tells me that maybe Hetmyer could actually go up the order, could bat 4 or 5 and come in a lot earlier. And I think he's shown over the years, not only in the IPL, but in world cricket, that he's more than capable of filling any role. So, Hetty, this is a big tournament for you. And he will know that he's struggled in international cricket. He's been out of favour for Shafin Rutherford. But if Shimron Hetmyer has a big IPL like we've seen him had in the last couple of years, I think he gives Darren Sammy and the selectors an interesting decision to make.
Yeah, I'm glad you went there, Nikhil, because I wanted to ask you, what would Shimron Hetmyer have to do to force his way into the West Indies World Cup setup? Well, given what you have just said, I don't suspect that you think that the door is closed on him.
No, I definitely don't think it's close, Ricardo, because I think he's that good. And I think what he offers against spin, probably only Nicholas Puran and maybe Shea Hope are up there in terms of West Indian players that can play spin in T20 cricket. However, as much as potential and prospect that we've seen over the years, he has to score runs. So for me, I think a 300 run plus season, depending on the role, would be important for me. If he's going to bat in the last 5 to 7 overs, I would need to see a strike rate of over 150, which he's been able to do for the last 3 IPL seasons in the last 5. And then I think it gives Darren Sammy options against maybe spin-dominant teams at the World Cup or slower pitches where he can maybe play in front of Rutherford. And it's good problems to have for us, but he has to score the runs. And he knows it, and Darren Sammy knows it as well. They both know that Hetmyer has to produce the results in order to sort of get in the team. And look, even Rajasthan, it's not going to be easy to stay in the team. I'm sure he'll start. I expect to see him and Rodman both in that playing 11. But they've got a star-studded side with a lot of Indian depth. So I could easily see them bringing in an Indian batter to bat in that top order. So it's a cutthroat league, man, and he's going to have to be on it right from ball one.
Yeah, I want to zone in on 2 other players, starting with Kyle Mayers and how important this tournament is for him. Started well last season, but tapered off towards the back end of the campaign. And even in international cricket, he's been rather inconsistent. Has still been at the top of the order for the West Indies, but that position is not safe and therefore makes the IPL crucial for the Barbadian left-hander.
Yeah, I think as we mentioned after the last series, Johnson Charles and what he's doing in the leagues and international cricket, I think he's done enough to cement a place in that opening slot alongside Brandon King. He did well in the PSL. I think Kyle Mayers has an opportunity now. Whether he plays is another story because he was in the top 20 run scorers last year, got over 350 runs. But he played in front of Quinton de Kock, who missed some time for injury and etc. I don't know if Justin Langer, who's a new coach of Lucknow, will start Mayers. I think they're going to start Quinton de Kock just based on how he's played in the other franchises and how much they believe in him. So it could be tough for Mayers to get an opportunity. I do love the bowling aspect of things that he provides, being able to swing the new ball in the power play. And if he does get a chance, I'm sure we will see him bowl. But yeah, just like it was for Johnson Charles in the PSL, I think this IPL is the last chance for Mayers to really make a name for himself. I think he'll be in the squad, but that starting 11 for me, I think it belongs to Charles and King just because of how good Johnson Charles has been so far.
How about Romario Shepherd?
Oh, Sheppy for me, yeah, he starts in the West Indies side. And that's just because of what he offers at the back end of the innings. The finishing ability, I think, is unmatched. But yeah, we know that it's going to be some tough decisions being made because there's so many players to choose from. But for me, Sheppy, yeah, I think he will play a role for MI in this tournament for Ricardo. Even with that strong team, they lost Cameron Green to RCB. So I could see Romario playing because of that death option, but also because of that all-round ability. And he's going to be representing MI in the Major League Cricket in a couple months' time. They just announced that yesterday. So exciting times ahead.
Yeah, part of the reason I asked that, of course, is because in the West Indies setup, you have Jason Holder, you have Andre Russell, a lot of firepower at the back end, and Jason Holder has been brilliant for the West Indies this year. So you just never know what the selectors and coach Darren Sammy will go with come World Cup time as far as a final 11 is concerned. I wanted to get your thoughts on a wider point, though, and that is MS Dhoni, after 235 games captaining CSK, he has decided to step away from captaincy, but he will continue in the tournament. Your thoughts on that decision and how it sets things up for CSK?
To be honest, I was quite surprised, and that's only because of how much CSK's success has been driven by MS Dhoni's captaincy. But when you look around the league, I think we're seeing a changing of the guard. You've got 6 new captains from last season into this season, and Gaikwad is one. We know Rohit Sharma is no longer captaining MI. So it's almost like a changing of the guard, end of an era for those older guys. I think the fact that he's still in the 11 or in the squad will retain a lot of those core benefits. But Stephen Fleming always talks about how much MS Dhoni has been the key reason, 80 or 90% of the reason why CSK have been so successful as a franchise. They tried this in 2022 with Jadeja, and after 8 games, they went back to MS Dhoni. Gaikwad, we don't know what to expect from him as a leader. He doesn't lead Maharashtra, that's his domestic side in India. So I don't know if he has the qualities of personality like an MS Dhoni, but they're going to have to look at some stage to build for the future. And they felt this was the right season with MS sort of being there to guide and mentor him. So we'll see if he can be the one for the future. And we'll see how it affects his batting as well, because he's always been an important run scorer for them.
Yeah, in 12 seconds, Nikhil, is it a good thing that Dhoni remains in the side with Gaikwad taking over? Do you think that is better for Gaikwad, or would it have been better the other way around if Dhoni made a clean step?
No, I think better for Gaikwad, just to have him lead. He'll have Jadeja and others as well. And I think MS Dhoni's finishing ability is good enough to to stay in the squad. What will be interesting is if he's struggling, given the knee injury, given the time away from cricket, will they then, because he's not captain, look at another option if the going gets tough?
Yeah, well, Nikhil, we want to thank you so much. What's for sure is when the WPL ended, I was so bored in the morning, like I didn't know what to do with myself. But now SportsMax, they of course had my interest at heart. So now we have the IPL. So we're looking forward to chat with you because I know you'll be watching as well.
Yeah, live on SportsMax. Looking forward to it, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nikhil. And of course, the first match, that exciting one, is tomorrow. That will be RCB up against the defending champions, CSK. You don't want to miss it.